everybody, I'm Michael, and today I have my review of the Wendigo GL3 grenade launcher, which is the new Vanguard Pinnacle weapon which in the Season of Opulence here in Destiny 2. First, I'm going to go over all of the perks, then I'm going to go over my kind of thoughts about it. I've had it for about a week now, and I've been using it fairly consistently. I haven't used it a whole lot in Crucible, but it's not really a Crucible-meant weapon. And finally, I have a few clips to show of it doing damage against one of the Lost Sector bosses on the Dreaming City. First, we have perks. Here we have it is an adaptive frame grenade launcher, a well-rounded grip, reliable and sturdy. Next we have Smart Drift Control, which controls recoil, increases stability, increases handling speed, and slightly increases projectile speed. Then we have Blinding Grenades. Grenade detonation has a brief blinding effect, which greatly decreases blast radius, but this is definitely something I'll get into more on my experience and just overall review. But this is a fairly great perk on this weapon. I definitely think it helps out a lot. Next we have Auto-Loading Holster. This holstered weapon is automatically reloaded after a short period of time. That is also really nice since grenade launchers have a fairly slow reload time. Then, here is our special perk. All of the Pinnacle weapons have some sort of special or slightly different perk. It's almost an exotic perk, but not really. So we have Picking Up an Orb of Light increases the next grenade's blast radius and damage. This perk kind of does miss out a little bit, or at least the wording of it does. There are a few other things you need to keep in mind whenever you're using this trait, but we'll go over that in the gameplay and experience. And finally, you have your trackers. You have no trackers, kill tracker for PvE, kill tracker for PvP. Here you can infuse it. Then we have a Masterwork Velocity. You have a normal mod socket, surprisingly not a Season of Opulence mod socket. And then we have an ornament, which I do not have yet, and then I've put Atlantic Rush on it just because I like the look of this blue. So let's go ahead and look over here. We have a fairly small blast radius, but that is mostly due to the blinding grenades. Then we have a high velocity, a fairly good stability, good handling, and a actually pretty good reload speed for a grenade launcher. It is a 120 RPM grenade launcher and has a magazine of 6. So getting on with the review, now I'm just going to talk about my overall experience using this, how I got it, why I use it, what situations I kind of deemed worthy of using this. So first of all, the way that I went about getting this, at first I was trying to just do it normally, just go through strikes with my Fighting Lion and just kind of shoot grenade launchers and stuff. But then I quickly switched to the Lost Sector method where you get 2 other friends, you load into a strike, and then each of you goes and picks a Lost Sector, and you just kind of go through the Lost Sector over and over until you eventually get all the progress. But about halfway through, I realized that the Corrupted Strike, inside of that strike you are able to access the Blind Well activity, and so that is what I did to finish up the rest of my progress, and that is definitely what I would recommend for you guys, or if you're wanting to get this. I wouldn't do it alone, because there is a high chance that either you will get reported for not helping out the team, or that your teammates will pull you through and you won't even be able to get to the Blind Well before you get joining allies and get pulled to them. So I would definitely recommend doing this within a fire team of 3. I was able to get about half of my progress done within an hour and a half, and I thought that was pretty crazy. Before that, I was getting a very small percentage. I was maybe getting 1 or 2% of the overall points with each Lost Sector that I was doing, and with the farming method for the Blind Well, I was getting about 5% every time we went through one cycle of a Tier 3 Blind Well. For this method, you definitely do kind of want you and your fire team to be the only people inside the Blind Well, because after all, you are only going for enemies defeated, you're not going after assists or anything, so you want to be the only people there so that you can get as many enemies to spawn and come after you as possible, because it is fairly easy in the Blind Well to train enemies. I did this on the Forsaken week, or the Scorn week, I'm sorry, and it was fairly easy to train some of the enemies, and you could get a group of them to follow you, and then you could just shoot into them with the Fighting Lion, and you'd get a large number of progress done, and I just thought this was by far the best way to do it. And it all still counts since you are actually technically in the strike. It seems a little weird since you are technically doing blind well, but if you just load into patrol on the Dreaming City and then go to the blind well, this will most definitely not work. So make sure you and your friends go into the strike playlist. That is also another thing that you have to do. And then what we did was we just kept leaving strikes and rezoning in until we got the strike that we wanted. On screen now, you can see me going through one of the lost sectors in the Dreaming City. It is actually the one in the Devalian Mist, right under where Petravenge is on the low curse week. But you can see me shooting the boss here. I do have 6 times explosive light, and as you can see, whenever I use this weapon, it goes down each by 1, so every time I shoot, I go down by 1 explosive light, which means that you can have a full 6. I mentioned that earlier, but I just wanted to show it in effect here. And the boss did die fairly quickly. I know I am 750 in this clip, and I'm also 750 in the next clip as well, where I don't have explosive light, but I just wanted to show the large difference. But you can also see that whenever I shoot it, there are 2 damage numbers, which I really think means that this weapon has a hidden perk, which is a spike grenade perk, which is just kind of not shown. But normally spike grenades are the only kind of grenades that show 2 damage numbers, where you have 1 on direct impact and then 1 on blast radius damage. I tested this a little bit more, and if I shot at his feet, it didn't show the second numbers, it only showed the first numbers, so I am almost 100% sure that this is a hidden spike grenades perk within the Wendigo grenade launcher. So here is me in the exact same lost sector with the exact same light level, but my grenade launcher does not have the explosive light perk activated. I have 0 procs, it does not show up on screen, and you can see the difference of how long it takes to defeat this enemy compared to with the explosive light, and I just really wanted to show a damage comparison and how much it did compared to with and without the explosive light perk. During phase 1 is where I really think this weapon shines, is because you're able to get a lot of orbs. Most of the time you're going to have a few well warlocks just using their wells to grant damage bonus, and make sure you don't get hit by the boss's melee attack, because if you're lower light that definitely will one-shot you, but if you're in the well it can really help out and make sure that you do not get one-shot by Galron's Deception. But I think this is just a fantastic weapon for boss damage here. There is no really different in mechanics or anything. Once you break his shield, you just unload everything you have onto him. He has a lot of health, but if you use this weapon, it definitely helps out. You get the nice stun effect, and sometimes if you shoot right at the right time, you can hit him, and he'll be stunned while he has his shield back up, so you can kind of make it a lot easier for your team to get the next shield break. So here are my overall thoughts on the weapon. I think it is definitely worth the grind to get, especially if you use the blind well method. It might only take about 4 to 5 hours at maximum, which I think is just a great way to do this. And blind well to me is definitely more fun than zoning and rezoning into lost sectors and doing the exact same over and over and over again. So I definitely enjoy the blind well method more, and it makes it a lot easier too. But I think this is a great weapon. I'm definitely going to continue using it within Destiny 2 Season of Opulence. I'm not sure, maybe a new grenade launcher or something will come out within the next season. We have Shadowkeep up in a few months, and something might dethrone this. But for now, I definitely enjoy using this within all of the activities. I find myself using it in strikes a lot too, just because you're able to do an incredible amount of damage to all the bosses, and even if you just have 2 people with this, you can kill almost all the bosses within seconds of them appearing, which makes strike farming a lot faster. I guess that should make sense, because this is a Vanguard Pinnacle weapon. I would hope that it's pretty good in strikes, but it just kind of exceeded my expectations, and I just think this is a fantastic weapon. I like its aesthetics. I know that's not a huge important thing, but I definitely think it does look nice. It shades well. Here we can look through some shaders here. You have Imperial Dress. It just kind of goes solid color. You have 2 color regions. You kind of have everything, and then you have this top section. And even sometimes this top section will shade with the rest of it. We'll look through a few more here. But overall, I think this is just a great looking weapon. I really do like the Calluses selected. When I went with Atlantic Rush, it was between Calluses selected and Atlantic Rush for me. But I think this just looks great. I like the ornament too. What the ornament does is it changes the actual kind of glass or maybe acrylic kind of chamber here, and it makes it orange. So if you want to have more of an orange style shader, maybe I have one here. It would definitely go better with, yeah, there we go. But it would make this orange, and it would just kind of change the look of the entire thing, which I'm not a huge fan of personally, just because I really like this nice blue, but maybe I'll eventually get it and show it off to you guys again. But overall, I think this is just a fantastic weapon. If you were looking for something to grind for, this is a great weapon to do it with. Some of the other Pinnacle weapons this season, or I guess both of the other Pinnacle weapons this season, aren't super exciting to me, especially considering that last season we got Recluse, which is probably just the undisputed PvE and PvP king of SMGs. But I think this is a great weapon, and if you're looking to grind a Vanguard Pinnacle weapon, this is definitely the one for you. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as comment any questions or anything you may have, and I'll see you later.